Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and we got a lot to go over. So a ton of people were pointing this out to me yesterday, and it's about damn time they actually did this. What we're going to find out, I don't know. We might find some things out and get a backhanded apology as we have through history. And what the hell am I talking about? Well, it seems that Congress has passed an amendment ordering the Pentagon, their Department of Defense bioweapons program, to review whether the U.S. experimented with weaponized ticks. For years, decades, it has been theorized that Lyme disease comes from a genetically modified bioweapons program by the Department of Defense that was either purposely or accidentally let out on the populace. So now they're going to be reviewing the records from 1950 to 1975. There's been a ton of conspiracy theorists that have done work on this for years. And there's so many different aspects of this we're going to go over in a moment. But I want to read this because it's so short, okay? It's really quite short, actually, because there's really not a lot out there. My amendment tasked the DoD Inspector General to ask the hard questions and report back, Smith said on the House floor Friday. During the debate on his amendment, Smith said the investigation would explore the following questions. What were the parameters of the program? Who ordered it? Was there ever any accidental release anywhere or at any time of any diseased ticks? Were any ticks released by design? Did the program contribute to the disease burden? Could any of this information help current-day researchers find a way to mitigate these diseases? All right, and notice he mentions Plum Island and Fort Detrick right here. Plum Island is off the coast of New York and still operational. And again, has been part of these quote-unquote theories for a very, very long time. Now, I want to point out here, guys, that none of this is new. We have chimeras, okay? Just this year, scientists successfully made sheep-human hybrids. That's what a lot of this stuff is, GMO weaponized animals. And remember, they released this year genetically modified mosquitoes to help cure malaria or fight malaria. That's how scary these programs are. That's how real these programs are. And when we get to Plum Island, all the congressmen, they all want to protect it. They say for geological preserves. And in here, they admit, here's Gillibrand and Schumer and Blumenthal and Murphy, right? They say it's just ridiculous. Plum Island should be protected and preserved. It is an environmental treasure with pristine beaches, miles of natural shorelines, and critical habitats for hundreds of types of plants and animals. We cannot allow this ecological gem to be devastated by private developers. Let's permanently repeal the outdated and wrong-headed mandate to sell Plum Island to the highest bidder. And why is that? Because it's a government facility where they experiment on GMO hybrid animals and do bioweapons testing. That's why. Okay? USDA scientists race to prep for the pork apocalypse. Here's Plum Island. See, again, they're working on the swine flu over there. Okay? But there's a lot more to this. Plum Island isn't the only place that this is happening. All right? And the Office of Atomic Energy, which is talked about a lot in Area 51 by Andy Jacobson. And by the way, if you're storming Area 51, you might find it's not just experimental aircraft that's there, but genetically modified human beings and all sorts of disturbing genetic modification, cybernetic stuff. That's the reality. That's a black site. That's an underground black site. And she talks about, the possibility of those types of experiments actually taking place in that facility. So now I want to go all the way back to, oh yeah, by the way, when we're talking genetically modified, I mean, the glow-in-the-dark pigs have been around forever. I mean, that's over a decade old now, the glow-in-the-dark pigs, I believe, or close to it. It's got to be 2009, and now they do it to sheeps, monkeys. Again, we just talked about the sheep-human hybrids in 2018. No problem with that, right? No problem with that. So Here is Bill Clinton talking about the Office of Atomic Energy. And this one, he downplays the other experiments, but again, it's in that same range of the 50s to the 70s where they were doing radiation experiments on human beings. And believe me, they were doing a lot more than that.
To tell the truth and to do the right thing. We discovered soon after I entered office that with the specter of an atomic war looming like Armageddon, far nearer than it does today, the United States government actually did carry out on our citizens experiments involving radiation. That's when I ordered the creation of this committee. Dr. Faden and the others did a superb job. They enlisted many of our nation's most significant and important medical and scientific ethicists. They had to determine first whether experiments conducted or sponsored by our government between 1944 and 1974 met the ethical and scientific standards of that time.
No, they did not.
And of our time. And then they had to see to it that our research today lives up to nothing less than our highest values and our most deeply held beliefs.
And let's just stop right there. So, a lot of people don't understand, Bill Clinton was the successful apologist president because it was very much, it felt like you had a younger guy in there. The economy was booming. We weren't at war. He was admitting to some atrocities. But at the same time, you notice how we put that in there? That today, none of that could ever happen. We're up to the highest ethical standards. We'd never do that again. Bullshit. Bullshit. That's a lie. That's him lying. This is them getting caught, and they put their little studio front man up to apologize, and everybody nods their head. And we're going to go into more of this apology, just a little bit more of the horrific experiments. And he'll say, no, they did not by today's or then standards, okay, number one. And then later on, he's going to apologize for the syphilis human experiments that went on in this country.
From the beginning, it was obvious to me that this energetic committee was prepared to do its part. We declassified thousands of pages of documents. We gave committee members the keys to the government's doors, file cabinets, and safes. For the last year and a half, the only thing that stood between them and the truth were all the late nights and hard work they had to put in. This report I received today is a monumental document.
Look how thick it is.
In more ways than one.
It's not funny.
But it is a very, very important piece of America's history, and it will shape America's future in ways that will make us a more honorable, more successful, and more ethical country.
I just don't believe it, Bill. We didn't become that. We just hid it away.
What this committee learned, I would like to review today with a little more detail than Dr. Faden said, because I think it must be engraved on our national memory. Thousands of government-sponsored experiments did take place at hospitals, universities, and military bases around our nation.
Let's stop it. Hospitals, universities, medical facilities, all right? Think about it. Military installations. This was a broad program, and you know, this right here, it intertwines. If you've never seen The Minds of Men, I believe it's free on YouTube as well, by TruthStream Media, 3 hours and 42 minutes, mostly about the mind control experiments, but believe me, radiation was a part of that as well. These were broad-reaching programs without ethical standards of any kind.
The goal was to understand the effects of radiation exposure on the human body. While most of the tests were ethical by any standards, some were unethical, not only by today's standards, but by the standards of the time in which they were conducted.
Damn right they were.
They failed both the test of our national values and the test of humanity. In one scientist injected plutonium into 18 patients without their knowledge. In another, doctors exposed indigent cancer patients to excessive doses of radiation, a treatment from which it is virtually impossible that they could ever benefit. The report also demonstrates that these and other experiments were carried out on precisely those citizens who count most on the government for its help.
Let's just stop that one there. Now let's get to him later. You know, he talked about some pretty Pretty terrible things right there. Well, now we'll talk about later testing. You know, the Tuskegee experiments. Now we're going to talk about that. Notice he's a little bit older. Let's apologize for that too, Bill.
What was done cannot be undone.
No,
But
it
we
can't.
can end the silence. We can stop turning our heads away. We can look at you in the eye and finally say, on behalf of the American people, what the United States government did was shameful, and I am sorry.
Apology, Bill. It's the apology tour.
Damage done by the Tuskegee people.
What happened there?
Mr. Shaw, the others who are here, the family members who are with us in Tuskegee, only you have the power to forgive.
I would never forgive, and I would never forget. I remind people every day that we still have a government that lies to us on a daily basis. And our constituents are puppets of the media, military, big pharma, intelligence complex. That's what they are. That's what it is. The technopoly is here. We should not trust them. They're trying to enforce more and more laws for us to take their medications, see their doctors. Remember, universities, military facilities, and hospitals. Working hand in hand. Check out the Minds of Men. Check out the history. Check out the history of Plum Island, guys. Again, Plum Island is a pretty scary and frightening place. A lot of people do theorize that is where this came from. We'll see what happens. But with that being said, guys, I'm doing 3, 4, 5, 6, sometimes 7 videos a day. I'm trying to do a lot of other stuff other than Epstein today because I have been focusing on that. It's a big story. We're definitely not going to be not going to be focusing on that. But for now, we just started Media Month 2. Thank you so much. We made our goal of over $5,000, just over $5,000 for the first month. The second month begins today. If you can give anything, I really appreciate it. It is keeping me going on subjects not only like Epstein, Nexium, biotechnology, chipping human beings, Trump and social media, Brexit, and so much more. I got to get on that Brexit train. We do Ask Me Anythings, deep dives into documents, Jimmy Savile, Ted Heath, and so much more. Thank you so much, FunLovin8, for the super chat. Hey, Jason, good to catch you live. What about Annie Jacobson's revelation in her book that they did human experiments and tried to make them look like aliens? Well, FunLovin, it's interesting you said that because earlier in the broadcast, I mentioned Annie Jacobson and Area 51, and that is an angle that they need to look at. And by the way, it's kind of a plot line in the X-Files at one point in that show. You kind of wonder where they got that from because this story wasn't out until 2011. But if you don't remember, there was the plot line where Mulder finds what appears to be a large train car filled with aliens. And in fact, it's deformed, genetically experimented on human beings. And that's what she claims was the crash at Area 51. Again, she actually talks about Lazar. I let people have their own discernment. I did actually before all this craze of raiding Area 51, I think like a few days before the group started. If you really want to get down and dirty with it, guys, where is it? I know I did a video on it somewhere. It was quite a while ago. I'm doing so many of them. Let's see. Where is it? Is the truth out there? Am I missing it? I'm missing it. Oh, it's way before that. Where's Dylan's? There it is right here. Is the truth out there? Go check it out. You'll get my opinions on it. Guys, I appreciate everything. Once again, the new GoFundMe is going on, and I will see you today for quite a few more videos on the flip side. Thank you so much for joining me.